Hello world, and welcome to Elevated Intuition. Today we are doing a pick a card reading for the full moon in Gemini, which is occurring on December 7th. This is the middle of the lunar cycle, which started off with the new moon about 2 weeks ago. And, we'll end in about 2 weeks. But what's important about this moon, it's a full moon in Gemini. It's the last full moon of the calendar year. It's a great time for reflection. Full moons are a great time to talk about release. Full moons are a great time for reflection, which is a lot of what the energy is right now, what people are doing in December. We're reflecting on the past year, we're reflecting on the past and how we want to move forward and proceed forward. So with those intentions in mind, that's what I'm doing with this reading. So a few other things. First, I already did the reading, so you will hear I've got a companion here with me, and I'll put a picture up of him right now. This is who you're hearing. This is Ranger. So he's helping me out with the reading by hanging out underneath the table here. I love readings. Usually it's a cat interrupting the tarot reading, and when you have a cat interrupting your tarot reading, you know it's legit. But this is still legit even if we have a dog. And and then we have a pick a card. So pick a card means that you get to pick the card or number, or I will be placing objects here in a moment that resonate with you. So you use your intuition to pick your card. And then I have timestamps down below in the description. You click on that, whichever one you pick, and I will meet you at your reading, and I will use my intuition to read those for you. And if this is the kind of thing that you like, or you like readings for your zodiac signs, consider liking and subscribing, because those are the kinds of things that I do. So the objects with group number 1, this is a Labradorite palm stone. So that will be for number 1. For group number 2, this is a Septarian palm stone, Septarian nodule palm stone. And for group number 3, this is a moss agate palm stone. And what's really important too, I also want to point out, is whenever we kind of have like a difficult energy, my readings are all about solutions. We know that everybody has great days and bad days, and we all have things that we want, we all have things that we need, and this is finding those strategies that work for us and working through them. So I just want to put that out there, that no matter any of my readings, that is the intent, to find solutions for us. So if you're still not sure which pile, I am going to do a brief exercise here. So why don't you go ahead and close your eyes, and we're going to do a breathing exercise. So we're going to take a deep breath in and release any tensions, and just be here in the moment and set the intention that to hear the messages that you need to hear. Go ahead and open your eyes, and wherever your eyes are drawn, that is the pile for you. So again, thank you for being here, and I will see you at your reading. Hello, group 1. If you picked this Labradorite, you are in the right place. So let me go ahead and move that out of the way. Let's take a look at our first card, shall we? And this is When All Seems Ended. Really interesting imagery here. This deck is, I'll show you what it looks like. So these big, beautiful, furry monsters. And this one is really in flux. It's in the middle of change. And I don't know, maybe transforming to a bird, maybe just shedding. There's a lot going on here. And oh, it's also interesting that it has a full moon here, and we're asking for messages from the full moon. Also, this is 28, and the moon cycle is 28 days. So the full moon is actually the middle of the lunar cycle of 28 days. So we go from new moon to full moon, back down to new moon, and starting a new lunar cycle. This one started with a new moon in Sagittarius. The sun is still in Sagittarius, and the full moon is in Gemini. And the full moon is a perfect time when we ask ourselves, what is it that we are letting go? I may have gone over some of this in the introduction, but I think it's really important, especially for you, because we're talking about cycles ending. We're talking about sometimes there's things that we don't want to end, and they do. And sometimes we don't even realize we're in the middle of an ending, but we are. It's interesting how many times there's something really significant happening in our lives, and we don't even realize it until much further down the road. But this seems like it's a transition for you. What's important is understanding that we're always in flux. Things are always changing. We're always evolving. We're always moving. We're always, even if things seem familiar, it's almost like that, the prodigal son, you can't go home again. I mean, you can, but you kind of can't, because it's never the same. And it probably isn't the same. It probably wasn't that way that you remember it anyway. But that doesn't mean that we can't move forward and we can't create beautiful things moving forward. However, given that it's the full moon, and given we're talking about this cycle and we're in the middle of the cycle, for the next 2 weeks, I think it's really important for you to think about what is ending and maybe what should end in your life. Is it a way of thinking? Is it, for me, and we've got, what do we have? We have Mars in retrograde, which is a time for action. We've got, you might be feeling like you want to go forward and move and change some things, but something kind of keeps you back. It's a really great time to think about those things. You may not be ready to put them into action. You may be in the middle of the cycle, but at some point you will be. So there's no reason not to plan for that, not to think about it, and not to set those intentions going forward. And what's really great about that is the things that we have to let go of sometimes just naturally fall away, especially if you are setting the intention that you no longer want to move forward with certain things or certain people or certain beliefs or certain, you can shut off the TV, you can shut off YouTube, you can shut off things at any time that you want to, and go and find something that really feeds your soul. So that's a really interesting message coming through there. Let's see what else we have for you, Group 1. What else do we need to tell Group 1? I'm going to go ahead and pick. I'm going to let the universe pick 4 cards here, but I'm going to pull 4 cards. First one, we've got the King of Pentacles. It's very interesting when I was talking about setting and 2 of Wands, setting the intention for some action on your part. The Tower reversed, also very connected here to the when all seems ended. Excuse me. This one fell on the floor, but it's really important. And it's the Hangman. The Hangman reverse, which looks like, well, the Hanged Woman, really, just upright. Kind of looks like it, right? Because usually she's hanging upside down. So what's important here is we've got 2 major arcana cards, both of them reversed. The Tower and When All Seems Ended, very similar energies. And even if you look at it, look at the swirl, kind of cloud of dust coming on here. I think it's important that we're having this conversation right now, because I feel like you are holding on to some things, Nostalgia is great. However, is it really, sorry if you can hear that. I have a helper here. I've got a dog sitting next to me and he's scratching. Anyway, I'm going back to this when all seems ended in this Tower card. Holding on to the past is great, but is it really what you remember it being? And, you know, because there's this thing called nostalgia. Sometimes things aren't as great as we think they were, but that doesn't mean that you cannot move forward and craft moving forward the way that you want them to be. And that's really important when we've got the King of Pentacles and we've got the Two of Wands here. King of Pentacles is somebody who really takes control over finances. So, you know, we've had some issues, we'll say, within the last couple of years, you know, when we're talking about recessions and shutdowns and things like that. Is really, if you haven't been financially impacted by that, congratulations, but a lot of people have. And it's really easy to think about the time before all that happened and think about how great it was. Well, we're not in that time. So what are you going to do moving forward? How are you going to take now control? Because a lot of that was really kind of out of our control. So moving forward, what are you going to do and set your plans in motion? And what's really interesting as well, and why I love the when all seems ended here in the Tower, is because there are a lot of people with very limited thinking. So you need to let that go and follow your dreams and follow what it is that you are putting forward, what it is that you feel like you need to do. It's very interesting how I see this all the time on social media. There's a post in our community page where a woman is looking for a specific type of job. And there's that laugh emoji, like people are laughing at her, like, oh, I can't believe that you think you can make that kind of money. I can't believe that you think that she can't, is what's going through my mind. If she is setting the intention to find that job that is perfect for her, then she will find it, because seekers are finders, and she's going to have more success than people who are making fun of her. And I hope that she can block that out, and the same kind of like message is coming through for you. So anybody who is like doesn't quite understand what you're doing, or doesn't understand your vision, or doesn't understand the type of manifestations that you are making, those are the types of people and thinking that we need to really kind of let go of. And this is all about also like that emotion that we have attached to the past as well. Full moons bring up a lot of emotions. Full moons can bring up a lot of triggers. And I kind of feel like there's some triggers here around money, just because we've got the King of Pentacles. That doesn't mean that you can't move forward. We have to kind of face those triggers and figure out why they're coming up, walk ourselves through it, and kind of be a, again, with the Two of Wands, you can see that she holds the earth on her hands, but she's also an observer. So is the Hanged Man. The Hanged Man is an observer as well, and looking at things from a different perspective. From maybe not such an emotional place, from maybe a more logical place, from maybe a place of, okay, I understand that maybe this wasn't the most pleasant experience for me, but I did learn this, and this, and I feel like that is what's going to help me be successful in the future. And I feel like that is why went through that, because there are reasons why we go through certain things. And if you are not learning from those reasons, if you are holding on to the past, if you aren't like, basically, yes, we have cycles, but we can turn those cycles into spirals so that we can move forward. You still move forward, but like maybe move upwards. It's not a two-dimensional space. We're still in the same kind of cycle of, you know, spring, summer, winter, fall, winter, that kind of thing. Like that happens every single year. But And so do lunar cycles and all sorts of other cycles. But in this cycle, we are being very cognizant of our emotional state, and we're looking at it and being logical and learning from it. There's also an element of communication that comes in with this full moon because it's in Gemini. Communication, collaboration, that kind of thing. It's important to identify the people who you want to collaborate with. Those are the people who support you. They're not the people who like hold you back. And you know, when I'm talking about this and thinking about this, a lot of times people who hold you back, they may not even realize that they're doing it themselves. They hear your plans, they have their own type of fear attached to that kind of thing, and they naysay because of their own fear, not because they don't believe in you, or not because they don't want you to succeed, or not because they don't love you, because they think they do. They just do not see the same future that you do. But you are the one who has spent the time here with the Two of Wands, or who's going to spend the time, okay? So I kind of feel like, though, you already have a plan to put yourself here on top. I love this King of Pentacles because it is like almost standing on the shoulders of giants. You're putting your own spin on it. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. And if somebody doesn't understand your vision, that is okay. And just don't let them derail you from your own vision. That you're the one who's put in the time here with the Hanged Man, that you've looked at this from various different perspectives in different ways. And you understand, maybe you really do understand the way that they are feeling or thinking, or, you know, it's so interesting how the world is so different for people who are even in the same family, who even grew up together, siblings, and somebody has so much fear attached to something, and somebody who doesn't. But I really kind of feel like there's a lot of entrepreneurial spirit here for you. So there's a lot of like releasing that fear and moving forward. And there's a lot of going forward with action with this Hanged Man. Let's see if there's a couple more messages here for you, group 1. Ooh, change. And there's another moon on that card. Look, there's also a full moon on this card. I love that she's gazing at the full moon, kind of like looking for inspiration, which is, you know, all about what we're reading right now, and focus. So change and focus. Change is really important. It's something, you know, like I was saying with the when it all seems ended. Some other, gosh, what is that song? It's kind of playing in my head, but it's a beginning is some other is another beginning's end. I probably slaughtered that. I think it's a song from the 90s, Closing Time. Anyway, every new beginning is some other beginning's end. So it's a cycle. There's always new beginnings. There's always new breath of fresh air. There's always, and just because you can't judge something by what the state of it is now. I was, you know, just out walking the other day, and I was looking at the ground and thinking, wow, you know, I cannot believe that anything grows here. Well, it's December, Amy. I mean, of course it looks barren. It's supposed to this time, but that doesn't mean that in 6 months that it's not going to be perfect, that it's not, because that is ending, and we will have a new beginning here in the spring. So understand that change is inevitable. Again, we've got a full moon, which again, we're talking about full moons. And then another moon here. This one is a gibbous. And focus. Oh yeah, waxing gibbous. Waxing would be when the moon is going from a new moon to a full moon. So waxing is maxing. Waxing means that it's getting bigger. And these are related to, you know, different moon cycles. This is the thunder moon, which I'm not sure when the thunder moon is. I had to look it up. Thunder moon is in July. So what's important is cycles. And what we're planting the seed for now could come to fruition when it's ready. So a lot of times I love these cards because they indicate a lot of timing on our part. Right now we're in the cold moon. That's what happens in December. So within the next several months, I feel like it's, that's when you're going to start seeing this come to fruition. This thing that this financial plan, it come out and start really paying you back. That's when you're going to really start noticing and seeing the difference that you're putting forth right now. And then focus. What is it that you would do if you knew that you wouldn't fail? Okay? And when you focus something and you focus intently, you are destined to succeed. So that's what I have for you. That's the messages that I have for you for this full moon in Gemini. And I think it's pretty powerful and pretty lovely actually for you, group number 1. So thank you for being here, and I will see you in the next reading. Hello, group 2. If you picked the Septarian Nodule, you are in the right place. So let's take a look at the first card for you. And this is 22, Time to Move On. So it's interesting that it's coming out here for this full moon. Full moons are all about, they bring up emotions, they bring up kind of like what's been bubbling under the surface. They shine a spotlight on our feelings, and they do that for everyone. So it can kind of be a little bit chaotic, and it may be time to evaluate some relationships, because this can refer to relationships, especially like romantic ones. It's really time to examine those things, and it might be time to move on for you, and really kind of discover yourself again. That's what the butterfly is here for, that even though, a lot of times we pour our heart and soul into relationships. It doesn't even need to be a romantic one. And it's, when it doesn't come out the way that we thought it would, it's sad. And of course we want to mourn that. However, we do move forward with the things that we've learned, and mostly things we learn about ourselves, and there's a metamorphosis there, and there's, I want to say, a silver lining there, but it's definitely a transformation. I love, what does it describe here? But know you lit a light in their lives. So that's important too, because a lot of times at the end of a relationship, and this could be like a work relationship as well, like you're cutting ties with a job, you're cutting ties with, a friendship, it's just no longer serving us. You're going in different directions, and that's okay. That is more than okay. The society kind of treats it like it's not, like we always need to be in one spot. And I kind of think that is a little bit of, I don't want to say brainwashing, but certainly I think it makes it more difficult to walk away from things when we really need to. You will not be lost when you follow the darkening path into the unknown. You will wander, but there are fragments of your soul waiting for you to find along the way. Be content with the light you carry within and the light you have lit with others. These will be the guides into the mysterious path before you. So it's exciting. It may not seem like exciting, but certainly. And I also want you to notice that there's like this butterfly carrying this little being here, because you're not alone in this. A lot of times you feel like you are, but you're not. Ooh, look at that. That's interesting that we get the Eight of Swords. Wow. And that's a really interesting Eight of Swords that connects to this time to move on too. Page of Wands reversed. I kind of feel like you're dealing with, wow, Nine of Swords. Kind of feel like you were dealing with somebody who's really immature and maybe didn't like to be called out on that. So in my readings, I don't always like to bring in romance or relationships into them. I really kind of keep it focused on you, but this is very deeply connected to relationships. We've got the Eight of Swords, we've got the Page of Wands reversed, we've got the Nine of Swords reversed, and we've got the Three of Pentacles reversed. The reason I'm saying it's deeply connected to relationships. Work relationships, though, it could be as well. So romantic work relationships, it could be a romantic partner that you were even working with, because we've got the Three of Pentacles. Three of Pentacles is collaboration, and you know, the full moon in Gemini is a sign of collaboration and a sign of communication, which the Nine of Swords and Three of Pentacles should be all about that. But I think it's really highlighting at this point how things are not working the way that you thought they should. I kind of feel like you were the one who, I feel like you're holding back in some way, but I kind of feel like you want more communication, or you need more communication, and your partner, it could be a, like I said, work relationship, so it could be your boss here, that they are just really immature and really kind of stunted, and they're kind of holding you back. Eight of Swords is you realizing that. Eight of Swords is a cage kind of your own creation. Like, you showed up here, you were committed to something, you wanted to be here for a reason. The swords, there's not swords around this angel. Remember, you have wings, you can fly. I love this too. You know, it's so connected to the time to move on. These wings, this idea of you having wings, this idea of you moving. There is this beautiful saying that I absolutely love, where I've always wondered why, if birds could fly anywhere they want, that they remain in one place. And then I wonder why I do. So I'm paraphrasing that. But the power behind it is, like, remember, you have wings. You can move and you can go wherever you want. And there's no reason to sit and stay in a stagnant and hostile environment. I've got the Eight of Swords, the Nine of Swords reversed, because stagnant and hostile. This is not helping with your growth. This is stunting your growth here. This is you keeping you in one place. This is it's time for you to fly. Nine of Swords reversed. This is, you know, look at all the eyes on this person. Usually we get somebody who is very, very sad. Kind of reminds me a lot of anxiety, a lot of depression, because it's a lot of worry, a lot of that kind of thing. I'm glad that it's in reverse here, because it talks about you not worrying about all of these people who are talking about you behind your back, not worrying about what everybody thinks about you, not worrying about having all of these eyes on you. A lot of times it kind of feels like, yeah, these everybody's watching you, everybody's wondering what you're doing. A lot of times that is your own kind of thought process thinking that. But still, there's a reason why it doesn't feel good, and there's a reason why you feel that way. I kind of feel like there's a lot of passive aggressiveness, either in your relationship or in your workplace. And I feel like we've got the angel wings here, and we've got this butterfly. It's time for you to move on and rise above that. Have you ever heard the saying of, like, never argue with an idiot because they will bring you down to their level and beat you with experience. That is this Page of Wands reverse here. The Page of Wands, I mean, look at this card. It could be very beautiful. It could be very inquisitive. And it probably seduced you, and I think seduced is the right word here, into this situation with this great prospect of learning more, and this great prospect of growth, and this great prospect of expanding your mind. And it has not really materialized into that. I feel like there were a lot of false promises here in the beginning, or, you know, you just outgrown it. You really have. And it's not being recognized. The Three of Pentacles upright would be where people recognize your genius, where people recognize the input that you have and what you're doing and reward you for that. It's not being rewarded here. And that's why we have this time to move on. And the Nine of Swords is you realizing that and coming out of that and not worrying about it. And the Eight of Swords, kind of this, you know, you're just about ready to look up and see, hey, this cage is open and I can fly at any time. Let's see what else we have here for you, group 2. So shedding anxiety, shedding worry, resistance, shedding this passive aggressiveness, it's rising above that that's been going on here. Wow, okay. So I was just about to say, like, I see resistance as something, not necessarily, sometimes yes, if you're holding on to the past, sure. But all of the cards are saying moving forward, and you moving forward with strength. Like, this is a fist. This is you, like, holding on, you know, I am not going to let this negativity change me. I'm not going to let these people talking about my back, behind my back, to cause me to worry anymore. I'm not going to let them invade my mind. You have to pay rent to be here anymore, and the only person that your thoughts, your desires are the only thing that's important and should be taking up room in your mind. Okay, so I find this resistance card, there's a lot of strength in that. I love the holding on to, like, because you're holding on to the good things. You're not letting the bad things ruin it. You're going to take those good things that you've learned, you're going to take your experience, and you're going to move forward and move on with that. And then it's really interesting when we have will. We've got waxing gibbous will. This is waning crescent, waxing gibbous. These are just, parts of the lunar cycle. Waxing, it means that the moon is getting larger. Waning moon means that the moon is getting smaller. So, like, the waning crescent for us, now that the full moon is on December 7th, would be about 10 days from there. So about December 17th. So that might be an idea of, like, the time frame when you're like, enough is enough. Give you about 10 days here to make your plan, to move forward with your strength, to really go from kind of like this mourning period to, like, no, I'm going to stand up in my power. I'm going to use my voice. I am going to use my strength. I'm going to use my talents, and I'm going to move on. And then will. Will is, it's interesting that we've got, like, the whole lunar cycle, well, not the whole, half of it, really, here. Waxing is maxing in your power. Waxing is when the moon goes from the new moon to the full moon, it's getting bigger. So it is, strengthening you. You're finding your strength is basically what I'm seeing, and that this is confirming that, yeah, there's a time of mourning, there's a time of sadness, but really starting with this Nine of Swords here, we're coming out of it. We're realizing our power and we're standing in it. And you're using your sheer will to, which is really just kind of like a confidence. It's kind of like a belief in yourself. It's you coming into your own. It's you not worrying about, like, it's you just realizing what you contribute, even if other people aren't seeing your value. And then now what's next? Like, where are you going from here? Like, and it's just really like, this is just the beginning is what I'm saying here with you, group 2, that start, of course, we have a mourning period when we transition, but it's just a transition, and cycles are a part of life. And I mean, we're talking about the moon cycle right now, which we're in the middle of with the full moon. So this too shall pass. And I'm really excited for you to discover something that's not working for you and letting it go and standing in your power and demanding better and demanding more. Now, where it goes from here, well, that's up to you, group 2. So I will probably have another reading in a couple weeks and we'll find out, right? Or you tell me where you're going from here, because I'd love to know. So thank you so much for being here in this reading. I'm really excited because the energy from the beginning to the end of this particular reading just really shifted for me. I hope you felt it too. It's just kind of like sadness with some hope, and just really like powerful, and like this confidence that you're not going to be stopped. And I love that for you. So thank you so much, and I will see you in the next reading. Hello, group 3. If you picked the moss agate palmstone, you are in the right place. Let's take a look at the first card. Ooh, blessed reunion. So this looks like you are meeting up or having a reunion with somebody. Usually this card speaks about a romantic reunion. However, it could be a reunion with a friend or a family member that you haven't seen in a long time, but certainly somebody that you love and care about very deeply, and certainly somebody that you have probably taken time away from for whatever reason. It could be that you just needed a break. You needed to find yourself, or they needed to find themselves. It could have been for another reason, but I think the result is them finding themselves and you finding yourself. And I feel like you really have grown stronger together, or that you will be stronger together. This is, like, the book on this is really beautiful. It talks about moving forward in love and kindness and recognition and support of each other. A very reciprocal relationship, a lot of Two of Cups energy here if you're familiar with tarot. This moment matters. Like, it matters here. Getting connected again, and that your relationship has changed, but it's changed for the better. It's definitely I keep going back to reciprocal, because it's very much a giving. It's a 100%. They say relationships are 50-50, but really it's two people giving everything to be in it, especially romantic relationships. And this is life as a tapestry woven of love. You are held, supported, seen, and heard. You will be known again, and this partnership will have more soul substance than any relationship previously created. This reunion is a union of two renewed souls and is blessed. So wow, group 3. It's funny, I didn't expect these readings to be so connected with love. And of course, this is a group reading, so that's not on the table for everyone, and that's okay. But this is very much like a lot of very relationship messages in these readings. So we've got 6 of Wands, and we've got Death, Death is a major arcana card. We've got Six of Swords, interesting. And because it's reversed, and that's what's interesting about it. Queen of Pentacles reversed. So first of all, I feel like it's important to talk about the sixes. We've got Six of Wands and Six of Swords reversed. What is the 6 reverse? A 9? 69? Anyway, I'm just leaving that there. 6 is a number of love, charm, health, oneness, empathy, destiny, and kismet. So this connection is very destined. This connection is very beautiful. This connection is, again, very reciprocal. Because even if you think about the way that a 6 and an upside down 6 or a 9 would flow, I mean, it looks a lot like, you know, it's got that outer, I mean, it creates a circle, basically. It is, again, there's a lot of flow here. There's a lot of like ebb and flow, yin and yang, the masculine and the feminine, the compliments of you and you receiving that compliment from somebody else. 6 of Wands is recognition. We already talked about recognition, finding that recognition in somebody else that was in this blessed union, but reiteration of that idea of that recognition. 6s too in tarot are kind of like of movement, right? Because she's sitting on a hummingbird. I love that. It's a beautiful image. The hummingbird is moving forward. And this one, she is like sitting on a rain cloud, and the rain cloud is moving forward, but these are actually moving towards each other. So it is moving forward, but moving forward with someone else. The 6 of Swords, you know, that is a movement too. It's moving away from something, but usually it is with another person, and you're going and finding your spot together. You've weathered the storm, and you're going to put down roots. You're going to put down this anchor where you find a good spot that complements you, both of you, where you've moved away from whatever negativity, that storm that occurred in the past. This could be like a situation where you just, you know, you lost your job and you and your spouse move, or, you know, very real and very literal, like that hurricane that occurred in Florida, and you have to move because of that, because of weather. Like usually the depiction is very similar to something that would, you know, physically occur, and you're moving away in a boat. Very much connected to emotions, even though it's swords, which is, you know, communication. However, there's this undercurrent of emotion that you moved and you left because of emotions here. But I love that they have the 2 6s, the 6 of Wands, the 6 of Swords, because I feel like, again, it's very complementary. It's very, Wands is very fulfilling. It's about creativity. It's about nurturing that. It's about being seen for that. And Swords, again, even though it has like this emotional undertone to it, it's being very logical. It's, you know, a lot of times when we're in a relationship, our heart is telling us something and our head is telling us something different. I kind of feel like we're on the same page a little bit here. Death. Death is a change card. Death talks about like that inevitable change that we come across. Card of transformation, card of change, card of inevitable change. Everything changes. I love this one in particular because it kind of really speaks to seasons to me. Kind of, but I love the growth, because so much growth comes after like a situation where you've been apart, or a situation where you know, you've gone through a hard time together and you really grown together and you really pulled it together. I also love the butterfly here. Talks about transformation, talks about change, and we are talking about a full moon reading here, so of course this is going to be chock full of transformation and change. However, where all the other readings were about releasing and letting go, this seems like you've already kind of done that work. You've already kind of put yourselves through that, and going through that together and kind of pulling things now together after all of that release. It might be that you need to, not necessarily need to, but it might be that you're like reflecting on it though, and really kind of deepening this connection with this other person, and realizing how much they mean to you and how much you mean to them. Then the only other card, well, the only other card we have out right now, but the Queen of Pentacles, and she almost seems like she is misplaced, because the Queen of Pentacles, I mean, she's reversed here. Upright, she's, you know, very strong, and I would expect that. I would expect some strength here. However, you know, I don't necessarily see compromise, because I see you guys growing together, but anyway, she does kind of seem misplaced when she's in reverse. However, this talks about like financial independence, and I kind of think maybe that might be finances may have been a question, or may have been a thing that came between you. And now that you have like it worked out for yourself, and you kind of have worked on your self-care, that you can come back together. The Queen of Pentacles reverse can also talk about like conflict. However, I kind of see, you know, of course, there's no relationship, no matter how close we have it, that's going to be conflict free. I just kind of feel like with the other cards though, that whatever conflict comes up, you guys are able to like really overcome and talk about it, and really kind of with this whole reciprocal energy, weather those storms, weather those changes, and move together, versus kind of this Queen of Pentacles moving out on its own. For some very select people, this could have been like a third party situation where you needed to, and this is the Queen of Pentacles who put the wrench in your whole relationship, just moving on her own, and no longer affecting your relationship. It doesn't necessarily need to be another lover or cheating involved, although it could be like a mother-in-law, a meddling mother-in-law who was sticking her fingers into it, or it could be somebody who just really was jealous of your relationship and causing issues between it, because look at her, she is moving on, versus this all is kind of like contained and moving together. So, you know, sometimes my mom was saying this, I forget who she was talking about. Somebody was causing problems in a relationship that she was talking about. And I was like, you know what would happen in my relationship if that, you know, because it was like a couple that worked together and they were having problems with the relationship, and it was a work colleague who was causing problems. And I was like, yeah, I would just like talk to my husband and it would be fixed, right? But if you don't have those communication skills, or you don't realize that somebody else is manipulating it, then, you know, things can escalate, things can move on. But I feel like this is, you know, this, and I love the flowers here, this is like really a growth together kind of thing. And anybody who may have had ill intent, they're the one moving on from your relationship, and this is you together. Now, for those of you who are not in a romantic relationship, and this is a reunion of family members or coworkers, or even with a job, this meddling third-party coworker has moved on, and you're finding bliss again in your work relationships. Or this person who, you know, it could have been somebody else's spouse causing problems with your relationship with your family, and they have now moved on, or they have changed and evolved, and it's no longer the issue that it was. before. But yeah, that Queen of Pentacles, sometimes the court cards are an energy, sometimes they're an actual person. They mean an actual person who she would be meddling in your situation. Okay, let's see what other cards come out for us. What else do we have for group 3? Whoa. It's interesting that purity came out upside down, because these, and self-love. I read these upright, and I don't necessarily shuffle them to be upside down. So, snow moon. The snow moon is in February. So that's interesting, because these cards, I love using them, because a lot of times they give us an idea of when things will work out, or maybe we put forth an effort now and it seems to smooth out like by February, if it's not occurring right now. Self-love, super important. And then it's also interesting that February, because, Valentine's Day. Self-love, also super important. I think that's, loving yourself first, even if you have this beautiful partner, and taking care of yourself and showing yourself love and showing yourself respect and having confidence in yourself, also helps you to set boundaries with a partner, and makes them understand what you will and what you won't put up with, what you will and what you won't have in your relationship, what your expectations are, what it is. And those are all very, very key things that you need to communicate. Communication is so important right now with this full moon in Gemini. It's bubbling those things to the top. It's pulling those things up. And that is something that is so important to moving forward in your relationship. And then this purity, this snow moon, it's all about simplicity. Look for the simplest and cleanest solution. Understand your motives for doing what you're doing, and be as clear as possible in your communication. And understand that it is between you and this person. It's not this third person. We're not, sorry. I have a helper helping me. I'll show a picture of him in the introduction, so sorry about that, but it's setting those pure intentions and being pure of heart with the person that is important to you. And I know why I do what I do. Don't let manipulation kind of enter in this. And the Queen of Pentacles reverse can be very much about manipulation. Maybe not as much as the Queen of Swords, but certainly somebody like a woman. I'm getting the woman scorned kind of idea. You got to let that go. Let go of kind of this rain cloud, and really put out that pure intention, and let somebody know, again, like I was talking about the communication, when you have self-love and you have the self-confidence, speak from your heart, speak clearly, and really communicate that. And I'm saying like speak from your heart because you want to speak with love, but be also very logical about that. There's a balance between, because I feel like there's a balance here, not only between you and another person, but a balance between emotions and logic, emotions and what you're thinking, what you're feeling and what you're thinking. And you want your mind and your heart to be on the same page, and that is finding that here for you, group 3. And even though, like, I'm telling you about this blessed reunion, and I'm telling you that it's going to work out, and I'm telling you about this reciprocation, I mean, the Death card does indicate that it is a journey, that it is, or it has been a journey, and it's still going to continue to be a journey, that it's not necessarily easy, that we have we've got some conflict, we've got some things to overcome, but that's true. The time is going to pass anyway, so why not put a little bit of effort into this, because it's important. And again, I love almost that she's got like this covering her eyes. She's just really letting her heart guide her where she needs to be. So that's what I have for you, group 3. Thank you so much for being here with me. I appreciate it, and you know, I'm really like, my heart is really full here with this reunion and this journey, and I feel like there's a lot to be communicated and still things to work out, and again, like, that's why this snow moon timing, this February timing, is important, and I feel like things get ironed out by then. So that's what I have, and I will see you in the next reading. Thanks so much.